Sorry, are you being interviewed right now?
What?
Are you being interviewed right now?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Okay. Will you come find me when you're done?
I will
to
come
talk
find
about
you and
de-escalation?
talk about de-escalation.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll be up there by the green banner.
Cool.
Maybe I'll give this back to you now, just so I don't.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, I don't know, maybe you would like to do the
no.
de-escalation thing.
Yeah. I mean, I would like
you
to
an
do that,
interviewer?
Sort of.
Who are you with?
You can call it Maxima, if you like. Brazil. Happens to be business
Extinction
publishing.
Rebellion?
Yes.
I'm one of those spokespeople, that's why.
Oh, I see.
okay.
I would love to talk to you, if you don't mind. But we're having an interesting conversation here.
Your outlet.
That's okay, then. Just ordinary people are the best, then. You know,
Yeah.
someone who learns some talking
Yeah.
points and just, espouses those talking points. Random people are the
yeah.
best to talk to.
Well, and I've been
Uh-huh.
I've been engaged in participatory democracy activism for about 3 years now. I'm actually relatively new to Extinction Rebellion.
Uh-huh.
I did a lot of work with the participatory budget.
Oh, here's Trump. That's what I was talking about. Breaking apart. No?
I mean, seems authentic. Kind of what he does.
No, not really.
Anyway, yeah. So participatory budgeting, which is a process where a community decides together how to spend public money. So that rather than having elected officials say, okay, so this is what we're going to spend money on, a slate of options is created, and then the community votes on which of those projects they want to see funded based off of the funding.
Are you in business? Have you run a business?
I have.
You have. So, the reason I'm asking that is because when we talk about community, when we talk about a group of people making decisions as a whole group of people, I think that we'll never be able to agree on anything in these sort of arrangements, because there has to be a boss, there has to be a responsible person. In business, that's, let's say, business owner or CEO or somebody else in the position of responsibility.
Yep.
And then the other people are supposed to follow, whether they like it or not, supposed to follow that person's decision. Because otherwise, you can vote over and over and over and fight over and over the issues, and you will never just stop fighting and agreeing on something. Don't you think that that's something that can help? Because from what I'm hearing is that this is what you're suggesting, no?
What I'm suggesting is that we all take turns leading our country, that we all take turns leading our communities and leading our cities, and that government makes it very easy for us to be able to do that. So we are all called at some point in time to serve on a jury. It might be for policy, it might be for a criminal case. But we're all called on to serve on a jury, and we all take a turn doing that. And some decisions that are long-term decisions, like things having to do with climate, or with criminal justice, or with COVID recovery, anything that has to do with these 10 or 20 year long-range plans are done using a policy jury or a group of people that are authentically representative of the community, rather than it only being people who are inherently corrupted through the political process by having to come up with all of the money in order to run and campaign.
Good luck to you too. But didn't we come back to what we're currently having, a representative democracy?
I think that the difference here is that it's more of a participatory democracy and a deliberative democracy. Right now, the democracy that we have was designed around conflict and competition rather than collaboration and co-creation. And deliberative processes in particular are not really available to us as a people in terms of actually having a discussion and talking about what are going to be the best paths forward, because our politicians are really engineered towards debating and not collaborating. And so that's where the partisanship ends up coming in, right?
But, look, you're in your own family. You have conflicts. I mean, you're trying to kind of come up with a solution, which I would love to have too. But the reality of actual people, actual characters of each individual is such that it's just impossible to live together in peace. I mean, look at the world history. There's nothing but wars, and more wars. You can't find common cause with nobody. It's just impossible. We'd love to, but it seems like an unattainable dream, no?
It doesn't seem seem unattainable to me
No?
because
Okay.
I think that the challenge that we have is that our government doesn't give us an opportunity to learn the skills to be able to do that.
I see.
That's the reason why I say trauma-informed government.
Uh-huh.
Because we know that conflict is going to happen. We know that conflict is healthy. It's the way that we
Healthy, exactly. Well, conflict, let's say disagreements, healthy disagreements,
healthy
yeah.
disagreements.
Right,
Very
uh-huh.
important. I
Right.
think one of the challenges is that we have very few skills that are given to us around how we resolve those kinds of, how we resolve and have difficult conversations. We don't really have a good model for that in the United States.
But it's the best model. It's not perfect, because nothing's perfect by definition. But isn't it the best? And again, me saying, coming from USSR and traveling around the world and seeing the world essentially and talking to people around the world, I couldn't find a better place, the better system, and the most stable system than any place on earth. I mean, look at any country. Look at their history. There are such huge swings. France, Germany. We talk about civilized countries, like in Western Europe. I mean, look at what was happening there in the very recent past. Very recent, like Second World War, for instance, First World War. The worst conflicts emanated from what you would think the most civilized country on earth.
But don't you think that's happening in the United States right now?
I don't
With
think
what
so.
just happened in Kenosha?
No,
mass
no,
shootings, arrests in the States?
I don't think so at all. Not even close.
Okay.
No, no.
I think I know too many people who live in South Minneapolis and who are living with white supremacists firebombing their blocks.
Well, but you can also see like blacks running around and smashing windows and rioting for no reason whatsoever. Like these different.
Rioting for very good reason, personally.
Yeah,
But
well, there's a difference between like this march, which I perfectly approve of, which is within the law and reason, versus just randomly smashing windows. I mean, you condone that?
I don't know that the windows are being randomly smashed.
Really?
And I would say that particularly in South Minneapolis, it wasn't black people who were doing that, it was white supremacists. I know the people who lived in those neighborhoods.
I mean, I shouldn't believe my own eyes when I see blacks, mostly, and even white people. I don't care. I don't discriminate who they are. But anyone who smashes the window is a criminal in my world.
Okay.
Is there anything wrong with my reasoning in this respect?
I think that that's, you are... I'm trying to figure out how to respond to this. I think people smashing windows and expressing rage because they're not being seen or heard, because the pain is not being seen or heard, it's going to happen if their pain is not seen and heard, and their pain is not being seen or heard. And so if we want to criminalize the expression of rage and mourning in that way, and it is criminalized in our society. What is a person in grief supposed to do?
Well, you're expressing your opinion. It's being heard.
Yeah, but
The blacks, look, if you go back in history, the blacks were slaves. Now they're free.
Not
The
necessarily.
blacks, what do you mean they're not free? They're not slaves anymore, aren't they?
Well, mass incarceration. Any
If you commit
black
a
person that's incarcerated is not making a living wage.
Well, I mean, if you commit a crime, I don't care. I don't look who smashes, hits me. If it's white person or black person or Hispanic, I don't pigeonhole. If, I'm get hit, I'm get hurt, you're a criminal. You go to jail. You steal from me, you go to jail. If it just statistically happened, the blacks doing it more frequently, well, maybe that explains why there are more blacks that are being incarcerated. No? I mean, logically speaking.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what we're seeing really in the United States is that there's a double standard between the way that black people are treated and the way that white people are treated in the eyes of the law. There's very much a double standard. There are certainly things that I've done that were I not white, I would have gotten in much bigger trouble for in my life.
Like
speeding.
But how can you know who's behind the wheel? I mean, there's the camera. You see there's a vehicle that is going at a higher rate of speed than they're supposed to be. They get stopped. And then it turns out that, the person behind the wheel happens to be either white or black or whomever. And again, what the difference does it make before the law? You're speeding, well, you're breaking the law, full stop. But you're saying that if a black person gets stopped while speeding, he'll get harsher punishment? Is that your point? Then when it's a white person that was speeding? You think so? But you did get tickets. No, I got tickets and I'm white.
Yeah, but it's not just about I do data analysis, so I look at a lot of like data. And the data shows that black people are more likely to get killed by the police. They're more likely to get arrested by the police. They're more likely to receive harsher punishments for similar crimes that white people make.
Do you think?
There's a massive amount of double standard in the United States when it comes to the way that black people are treated versus the way that white people are treated, particularly in the context of criminal justice.
You think so? Okay. Well, I mean, the way I look at it is maybe it's a cultural thing that just blacks happens to be more. I wouldn't say inclined, again, of course, but they just happen. Well, that's what I said. Not inclined. You just happen to commit more crimes because of the cultural thing. If there is a child that grows up in a single parent family, and unfortunately, I believe 80%. I mean, you know the data. 80% of black families. No.
No, definitely not.
What's the percentage? 60%? Do you know?
It is much higher, and also I am realizing that I have to get up ahead right now.
I see. Okay. Okay. Thank you so, Vladimir.
Vladimir. It was
Yeah,
really
pleasure.
lovely meeting
Sure.
you, Vladimir.
Absolutely. Pleasure.
You have a good one.
Thanks, you too.